Hello, friends. Come on in. Come on in. I just bumped my camera right before I went live. Let me just make sure I'm centered on camera so you guys, I'm not off camera, especially when I make the screen smaller. I'm so glad to see you. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. We have a lot of stuff to dig into. We're going to be talking about where and how law enforcement looked for Sebastian, the original lights video, what Seth Rogers claimed early on in Sebastian's disappearance, and what happened to Sebastian Rogers. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects and share with you how to do the same thing. If you have not subscribed to Reporter Room, please do. It's free. Like, share, leave me a comment, and know that everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion. So I want to just start off, first of all, by thanking everybody who's here to help share awareness for this young man, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian was last seen on February 25th of 2024. He was reported missing in the early morning hours of February 26th of 2024. He was last seen inside his Hendersonville home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was 15 years old at the time, and he is 16 years old now. He does have an Amber Alert that is active for him. There is a reward, and FBI is offering $50,000 for his return. And he was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, black rimmed glasses. He is believed to have left the house without his shoes on, without his cell phone, and without a jacket, carrying a keychain flashlight. So we're going to talk about all of this. So come on in and tell me where you're from. I do want to welcome Shannon Nelson as a brand new channel member to our channel, and also welcome Hound Lover as a brand new channel member to Reporter Room. Hi, Michelle. Come on in. Leslie's here. Thank you so much for modding today, Leslie. This is our head mod, Njaz. Thank you for modding today. Dabs, thank you for modding. Hi, Orange Wedge. Hi, Marilyn Seb. Come on in, guys. Tell me where you're from. Brother Mike is our other head mod. Thank you so much for modding today, Mike. Christine is here. Leslie, thank you for modding. Arlene is here. Christine is here. We're going to have a great show. We got a lot of great people in the top chat. Come on up and talk to me. Tell me where you're from. Helena's here watching from West Virginia. Butterfly kisses everyone from Tennessee. Hello, everyone from Tennessee. Common Sense is from San Antonio. Brother Mike said, how does Katie Proudfoot know what he's wearing when she didn't see? Well, that's what she saw him in when she put him to bed. He had a black shirt on. They weren't sure what it said on the shirt. Chris Proudfoot said he thought it had some kind of a cartoon on it. Hi, Karen. Come on in. Mike is from Northern California. Kim said, in my opinion, I think the lights video holds people and vehicles involved. Oh, the Texas Roadhouse video holds the people and vehicles. So you think that's the key to it. Very, very interesting. There's Find Summer. Call 1-800-TBI-FIND if you know anything that could help law enforcement find Sebastian Rogers. They are asking for credible tips. And thank you so much for raising awareness for Summer Wells as well. That's her picture there on the screen. So let's see what she says. She says, the more I look at it, the more I believe Katie and Chris were at their wits' end and put Sebastian somewhere. I don't think they could handle all the responsibilities anymore now that he was older, in my opinion. So everything we're all sharing in this is our opinion, and this video is for educational entertainment purposes only. Yeah, please be sure to put in my opinion in your comments. There's so many lawsuits flying around. Diana is here from Tennessee. Free to Be Me is from Georgia. Welcome. And Jazz is welcoming you. Hi, Sassy T. Brother Mike, thank you so much for your $2.99 super sticker. That is so nice of you. Thank you so much. I am putting that toward a computer so I can air the Brian Kohlberger trial, the whole thing, and then I can edit also, because that trial is going to be 3 months long. So I'm going to want to be covering other cases. So I really appreciate that, Mike. Joni, welcome from North Carolina. Sky Maiden is also from Northern Colorado. Oh, do you still have snow, Sky Maiden? Leslie, thank you so much for allowing me to mod. Thank you for modding. Gosh, I really appreciate you guys. Steph is here. Hi, Steph. So we're going to do a channel members live stream after this one, right after. Hi, Michael. Hi, Dinah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So 1 year ago, Sebastian disappeared, a little over a year now, from his Tennessee home. And so it is now is it a criminal investigation? Did someone lure Sebastian out of the house? Or is it like what Katie said, she doesn't know why he walked out that door? Law enforcement, let's listen to what they have to say, of where they've searched and what they found.
It was 1 year ago. He vanished from his Hendersonville home late Sunday night or early Monday morning. There was a massive search effort in the first several days after the teen with autism disappeared.
This is the system that we use to track all of our searchers.
In the 12 months since, Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener has led searches from the ground and air. Divers went to ponds. Spelunkers explored sinks.
Okay, I am going to show this video. I just don't want to be in the way of it. And let me just re-pull that up and move myself out of the way. Okay, because this is going to show where they are searching. Okay. All right, I'm out of the way. Let me make this nice and big. Turn it up so you guys can hear it. I will start it over. But this shows you where they were searching.
16. It was 1 year ago. He vanished from his Hendersonville home late Sunday night or early Monday morning. There was a massive search effort in the first several days after the teen with autism disappeared.
This is the system that we use to track all of our searchers.
In the 12.
Okay, so you can see how elaborate this system is that they're using to track all of their searchers. You can see all of the lines going around on this. And I thought, this would maybe help. Some people have said they didn't know if law enforcement did enough. I feel like law enforcement has done a lot and hopefully are still doing a lot. Where I think things could have been done better, in my opinion, is CPS. When Sebastian went away, it seems like those cases went away. I think that when a child goes missing, like Harmony Montgomery or Summer Wells or Sebastian Rogers, all three of those cases had CPS investigations or Department of Family Services investigations. I think at the time that the child goes missing, things shouldn't stop. Instead, they should be doing more involved searches, more involved interviews. The investigation should get bigger, not disappear. But you can see how much law enforcement did. And I just wanted to show you this because I haven't looked at this for a long time.
Months since, Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener has led searches from the ground and air. Divers went to ponds. Spelunkers explored sinkholes.
The White Dots are caved and they've all been searched.
Whenever a new tip surfaces, Widener sends a crew to search. But he says those leads have slowed to a trickle.
And this is them searching that landfill in Kentucky, which that had to be so grueling and so gross. And you can't bring dogs into a landfill because they can get injured.
The sad fact remains, to date, no trace of Sebastian has been found. As such, speculation runs wild from less than credible sources.
The rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Authorities have made it clear they'll provide an update when there is something new to report. But this one-year milestone might be a good time to clear some things up. This week, I did speak exclusively to Sumner County Sheriff Eric Craddock and District Attorney Ray Whitley about the case. Now, some are wondering whether or not this is now a criminal investigation.
And I just want to give credit here to News Channel 5's Nick Barris. He is a local reporter with a relationship with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So I think he does he's a very credible source, in my opinion.
They tell me the answer to that is no. It is simply an investigation. The answer to that is not. This is now a criminal investigation. They tell me the answer to that is no. It is simply an investigation.
Okay, so no criminal investigation, according to a local journalist who has a good relationship with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Others are asking the question still, is it possible that Sebastian's parents, his mother, stepfather, and biological father, may have had something to do with his disappearance? Again, the answer to that, no evidence of that, and that the parents have cooperated. Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
After a year missing, some wonder, is this now a cold case? The answer, no. It does remain very active. Sebastian's father said.
So I've also heard that people are announcing that it's a cold case. No, it's not. It's still active. It's still an active investigation. So not a criminal investigation. Should it be? I don't know. The parents, none of them have been cleared, but none of them have been implicated either.
Seth said this in the days after his son disappeared, and the same holds true today.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now, is that he's not deceased. I mean, I keep praying that he's alive. I keep praying that somebody's going to see him, that somebody's going to call 911.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
And if you see Sebastian Rogers or have any credible tips, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FINDE. Okay. So let me go to this and move myself over here. Okay, we can still see the article. Thank you, Orange Wedge, for the $4.99 super thanks. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Orange Wedge says so many red flags here. Yes, I agree. I think there are a lot of red flags in this case. Huge red flags. So, but there is not a criminal investigation according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. No one's been cleared, but also no one has been implicated. Thank you, Entas, for gifting a membership. If you receive that membership, please let me know who you are so I can welcome you to the Reporter Room family. And thank you to Brother Mike for the $2.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. I will put that toward the computer. I'm going to be airing the entire Brian Kohlberger trial, which is 3 months long. So I will be using a second computer to edit on. Minky doesn't think anything sounds right. Michael says, poor Seth. Brother Mike says, if you see something, say something. And Fine Summer says, I make the promise. If I see Sebastian, I'm walking up to him and asking him if he's Sebastian. That's just who I am. I think that's great. All right, so let's talk about this, and then we're going to dig into a little bit more. But I just wanted to just go back to how Seth sounded when he first found out. We've been talking a lot about the Proudfoots, and we've been going through their interviews and looking at the discrepancies in the interviews, but also some leakage too. But let's hear what Seth had, because Seth has the most, in my opinion, ironclad alibi. He was at the jail. He was, drove there. They would have seen him on camera pulling into the parking garage. He was in the jail. They would have seen him on camera at work, and they would have seen him going back out to the parking area to get his car afterwards. Everything is on camera at his job. So this is what he said. He said, I'm still hoping he's alive. This is Seth. My main hope right now that he's not deceased. I pray he is alive and someone will see him and call 911. Dozens of people showed up wearing green, which is Sebastian's favorite color. Can we get some green hearts with your comments today? Don't just put green hearts by themselves because it might get flagged as spam, but drop a green heart or two with your comments today. And let's honor Sebastian and his favorite color, green. Seth knows that the key to finding his son may come from a tip, and he released multiple video clips of Sebastian. In the first one, we can see Sebastian up front on the left in yellow shorts, participating in a tug of war. And in the second one, he's walking in his middle school graduation. Seth said, I was very proud of him. He successfully completed something. Seth said his son, who is autistic, is not a wanderer. He finds it highly unusual that Sebastian would leave the middle of the night barefoot based on an experience his son had as a child. He said, quote, he decided he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt. It was fire ants. And since then, he doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to leave his shoes and socks on. This has led to a lot of people wondering, why Sebastian would have gone out the door voluntarily that night without his shoes on. They were all accounted for, according to Katie and Chris Proudfoot. We heard from several people helping with the search who thanked the community for their support and said she just wants Sebastian to come home. With the information I've gotten from the Sumner County and TBI, the fact that dogs aren't 100%, they're not picking up his scent, he said. One dog tracked him to a construction area over there and it just disappeared, and it's confusing. These are missing pieces to the puzzle. I'm having difficulty solving this. So we've also had the question of no dogs picked up his scent. One dog picked up his scent. And so I was like trying to get to the bottom of that. Why do we have the discrepancy? Some people are saying no dogs and some people are saying a dog. And we don't know this. So this is not coming from law enforcement. This is coming from Seth Rogers. So I just wanted to share that with you. Just make sure we are all working with the same amount of information. Let me grab this. And then the other thing that I think is really important, I'm sharing the wrong one. There it is. Okay. Is this lights video. I'm going to move myself over. Again, I feel like this and the Texas Roadhouse video are the two most critical pieces of information. Nick Bear, I know some people have said the lights video is discounted. Law enforcement kind of hedged on that, in my opinion. Let me pull that up. The title sounded like they disputed it, but then when you dug into the article, and Nick Barris was pressing on that. Sorry. Let me pull that up. Okay, let me share this. I have another source on this. Let me take this down and put this one instead. All right, let me grab it. Okay, so this is what aired.
Authorities have scrutinized home security video from that Hendersonville neighborhood, trying to learn what happened to that teen with autism.
Now you can take a look for yourself. Our Nick Barris obtained video that appears to show two people near Sebastian's home the night his parents say he disappeared.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night, pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues.
We have had several clips that have come in.
And this one is getting the most attention, showing signs of activity around Sebastian's home the night he disappeared. You see, 2 light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area, and that is it. I know there's not much to see here. You certainly cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me the mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant.
Okay, and so this has never been retracted by law enforcement. I've seen some headlines that said that that it was, but it really has not been retracted. They said it could be evidence if that, once they found out what happened to Sebastian. The problem is that they've never figured out what happened to Sebastian. So without Sebastian, the case can always be made that he ran away and that he's out there somewhere, or he's, fell down a storm drain or something like that. So, I think that this lights video is significant. I think there's a reason that the FBI and the TBI and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office all, according to Chris Proudfoot, really looked at the video. I don't think the Sumner County Sheriff would have shared it with the TBI and the FBI if they thought it was irrelevant, if they could identify who that car was and could, rule out, who the problem is they just can't see what's on that video. I do think that it is a really good, strong piece of evidence. And I do think that, that it is significant. Let's listen in.
This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of these subjects have been Sebastian? Did he meet and leave with someone? Sebastian's father says his son would not go with a stranger.
It's up in the air for me because I don't think he would get into a vehicle with somebody unless he knew them.
So what exactly are we seeing here? I know investigators are doing what they can to try enhancing the video for any more clues. For now, this video is now part of the Sebastian Rogers missing person file, and I'm told it could become more significant depending on where the ongoing investigation leads.
So that's the final word on that. I just wanted to kind of do a rumor clear up so no, it's not a criminal investigation. Yes, this lights video is significant, despite some people trying to tell you that it's not. It is significant. It has not been ruled out. And I think that's really, really important. I think it's important that, that we just clean up the rumors. What we do know. And then the scent dog has been, lots of dispute about that. We can see where the discrepancy came in because Seth has said that there was a scent dog. Now, I don't know if he heard about this from somebody else. I've heard some people say they picked it up on a radio scanner and that, but law enforcement has never told us that a scent dog picked up his scent. So they haven't told it to us. So I guess my question on that is, we still don't know. But Seth Rogers seems to think there was one scent dog that alerted and went to that pond. Whereas other people have said that no scent dog picked up any type of scent. So I just wanted to clear that up too, because I do think it's important. And I think it's also significant that this is the video that was discounted. This video, which was put out at the 1-year anniversary, that's purporting to show someone, which is law enforcement said that they ruled out the person in this video the first few days, that they had all the video within 3 days and that they ruled it out. So I'm just wondering why this video was put out when we know for a fact that this one was debunked, and why this video that has not been debunked, we're being told don't pay attention to this video. So I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Which video do you find to be the most helpful? And is there a reason that we're getting so much misinformation on this case? Here's this is Sixth Sense Amelia. She's our other head mod, and she hails from New Zealand. Welcome, Amelia. Kenna Kick It said, I'm not sure, but maybe school counselor or teacher. I would love to have one of his teachers on. If you want to approach me on Twitter at Davies Writer, I will, have to verify that you are actually a teacher at his school. But I would love to interview you and find out, more about it. You don't have to appear on camera. You can talk to me off camera, but I would love to talk to you. Thank you for the green hearts for Sebastian Cam. And Jess says, yes, he was seeing a therapist weekly. Leslie said, I believe Seth over Katie and Chris. Marilyn Sam said, the only thing that gives me hope is that Seth and Tony have hope. Where's Summer and Sebastian? 1-800-TBI Find says, a therapist outside of the school or in the school is what I'd like to know. I would like to talk with them. I know a therapist at the school is not going to tell me any information, but I would love if one of the teachers, if you would like to reach out to me on Twitter, I will need some type of proof that you are a teacher at the school. But I would love to talk to you. You don't have to come on camera. I would just love to talk to you. Sophie says, I will always say that Katie and Chris are guilty. And remember, just always say your opinion, you guys. There's just so much going around. Where's Summer and Sebastian at 1-800-TBI Find says, I mean, with some of the things that's happened to Sebastian, he really needed therapy, someone he could talk to that wasn't a parent. That's so important for depressed children. I agree. Sophie says, I want them to be found safe. I want Summer found safe. I want Sebastian found safe. Harmony Montgomery, we know she's not going to be found safe, but she still hasn't been found, even though her father's been convicted. Now, they were able to convict her dad for what he did because they were able to use her stepmother as an eyewitness to what he did. She was an eyewitness in the case. We don't have that here. The reward is getting to be enough that maybe an eyewitness will come out. Maybe somebody that does want some reward money, will be interested in coming in and telling us what they know. Amelia says, Katie's family, the RSO, that's her mother, are suspect too, ignoring their conditions, access to the grandkids. Leslie said the Proudfoots didn't think Sebastian disappearing would blow up like it had, in my opinion. No, I agree. I think there's no way to know that because so many missing children go missing every day. And there's, no way to know that, this one was going to get so big. And, it just did, just like in the Summer Wells case. And I think the reason that this case got so big, let me know what you think, but I think it is because Chris and Katie Proudfoot set off so many alarm bells in people when they were listening to them in the first two interviews on the Duchess channel, and when they were listening to them on Nancy Grace, and when they were listening to them from Chronicles of Olivia. And then they see discrepancies. And then we have statement analysts like Peter Hyatt, statement analysts like Steve Johnson, statement analysts like Pat Brown, who's also a criminal profiler, all telling us, that there's red flags, that there's, something significant. And Peter Hyatt did also analyze Nina Gomez, who is Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, and said that he found her to be, quote, reliable. He felt like she may have left out a few things that she did wrong, but that for the most part, he found her description of Chris Proudfoot to be reliable. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody could have ever predicted it would get this big. Where Summer said there was one false hit by the construction site, but law enforcement said no scent other than the false one was ever found. Steph said, I think it's extremely important, considering to their own admission, that the last thing that was missing is a little flashlight. Yeah, and then we get the flashlight video. And then this kind of weird that I wanted to show you from Chronicles of Olivia, which is, Chris Proudfoot giving his official statement. And I already covered this in my last video. But I was like, wow, there's so many red flags here. And then, we have Katie claiming to the news outlet to another news outlet that Sebastian, she doesn't know why Sebastian, quote, walked out that door. So did she see him go out the door? Because she said she was in the living room talking with Chris Proudfoot on the phone. So, this is why people are going around and around in a circle. It reminds me a lot of the John Benet Ramsey case, which here we are, and people are still talking about this case and still know who this is. Movies have been made about it because as soon as you think you have an answer, you consider something else and you're like, well, no, that can't be right. And we're just going round and round in circles. So Fairy says, I would adopt them both. I have no kids of my own. Orange Wood says, somebody has to come forward to help this case stay active and relevant. I agree. Hi, Pepper. Thank you so much for modding today. Sherry said, I absolutely don't think Sebastian is still with us. I think he passed the night of the 25th of February of 2024. Well, I hope he is. I do. I can't bear to even think about that. I really do hope that he is okay and that he is found safe and well. But I do understand why you feel that way, Sherry, and I respect your feelings about that. I get it. And Jess says, please remember to use allegedly or in my opinion after your comments. Yeah, so important, you guys. There's so many. I don't know what's going on. I don't know all the drama. And you know what? I don't want to know. I've purposely not watched stuff on it because I know there's different teams and people are suing each other. And I feel so bad for people that are what all's going on. I wish, we could just all get back to where we were, which is just, all advocating to find Sebastian. And I'm hoping that, here on Reporter Room, we can just come together as a true crime community, no matter what your theories are, and just really focus on keeping Sebastian's name and his picture out there and, reminding everybody that he's missing and really caring. So, yeah. Protect yourselves by using allegedly, in my opinion, is a good way to, keep yourself from, out of the way of lawsuits. Dab said he needed friends. Yeah, I think he did. I think he, probably had some friends at school. I mean, Katie says in one interview that they did interview his friends. So I would think that he had classmates and friends at school. I hope so. I hope he did. Canadian True Crime says, hello, everyone. Sky Maiden says, in my opinion, I don't think anybody's going to come forward for the reward. I think somebody close to the family has something to do with it. Hi, Robin. Guadalupe says, if the Proudfoots ever divorce, someone's going to talk. I think that, it's going to be really hard for there to be another divorce for Chris Proudfoot. I don't know. Let me know what you think, because I think that, by including the fact that he was on Katie, including the fact that he was on the phone with her that night, no matter what ever happened to Sebastian, has now forever yoked Chris Proudfoot into the story, whether he was involved or not. I'm not saying Chris and Katie did anything to Sebastian. Katie says that she doesn't know why he walked out the door. But the thing is, I just don't understand, if she was in the living room, why she wouldn't have seen him go out the door. And which door is that door? Is she talking about the front door? Is she talking about the back door? And then why, if you knew he went out the door and he didn't have shoes on, why wouldn't you get him? Why wouldn't you go get him? And is that a problem? In my opinion, this was a in-house crime and cover-up. Michelle says, definitely. She agrees with you, Leslie. Kathleen says, I think CP and Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot are guilty. Well, we don't know if that there has been committed a crime. I just want to urge caution here, but you're certainly welcome to share your opinion. I just, law enforcement said, that's why I wanted to go back and look. They have said there's no criminal investigation. Now, normally when they issue an Amber Alert, and I showed you guys this on a past live stream, it normally means that they think something like an abduction, something nefarious has happened. But according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, there is not a criminal investigation open. Linda says, don't you think it's kind of funny they knew a little keychain flashlight was missing, yet no shoes were missing? But I think it's one thing no, I have a little keychain flashlight to unlock my door. I don't know. It certainly is mystifying. We just go round and round in circles, because as much as we think, first of all, we've been going round and round, like, did a scent dog alert or didn't one? And Chris Proudfoot said that one did. Seth Rogers said that one did, but I don't know if he heard that from law enforcement or if he heard it from Chris Proudfoot. But law enforcement says that no scent dogs alerted. So I don't know. Michael says, in my opinion, if nobody claims the $447,000, probably family. Robin says, in my opinion, that scent was Katie Proudfoot. And here's the other thing about the scent dog. If a scent dog did alert, was it alerting to Sebastian that day or a different day? I mean, he did live at the house. But either way, no matter what you want to think about this, they never did find Sebastian. And you could see, that's why I wanted to show you that grid, how thorough they were in searching that 10-mile, radius around that house. Karen says, Katie's cousin told me the other day that her bio dad's family has not been checked into, but the registered SO mom has been investigated. I don't know that Chris Proudfoot's bio dad's side has been investigated. I don't know. Can I kick it? Says, in my opinion, they definitely have red flags, but what if they just look sketchy and someone with nefarious intentions took advantage of that? Just another possibility. That's why I say we just go round and round. It's like the JonBenet Ramsey case. It's like, well, could it be a family member? Was it someone inside the house? Gosh, that ransom note was awfully long. And wow, she was found in the house. When they said it was a kidnapping, wouldn't they at least have taken her out of the house, even if they had done away with her, so they could get the ransom money? But no, nobody ever showed up for the ransom money. No phone call ever came in to get the ransom money. And then people say, well, why would the parents have called law enforcement and not told them that if law enforcement arrived on the scene in a marked car, that their daughter could be beheaded? Why? So it's like, and then it's like, well, it's got to be somebody in the family. And then, but there's a suitcase by the door, and one of the basement windows was smashed at the JonBenet Ramsey house. Maybe somebody broke in. And then we go around and around and around. But no, how many people could fit through the window? Who knew the exact amount of John Ramsey's bonus of 118? And we just around and around and around we go. And that's where I feel like we're at with this case. I feel like we're going around and around and around. 447 equals Illinois. Where Summer said, I'm pretty sure the police have asked her, did he have a flashlight? And she said that she believes it's missing because she can't find it. Thank you for sharing that. Leslie said, Chris Proudfoot's family is definitely involved, in my opinion. Sky Maiden says, I find it weird that Chris knows so much about what happened, even though he wasn't there, like Don Wells knew so much about it when he was supposedly not there. And Summer Wells, the case of Summer Wells. Yeah, and here we are years later, and we still don't know what happened to Summer. Hey, Robin, and decades later in the JonBenet Ramsey case, Madeline McCann, that was another one where people have just gone around and around and around. The parents left a 3-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old, Madeline, at home with 2 babies. Her 2 twins, twin brother and twin sister, were younger than her, like under 2 toddlers. And they were left alone in their rental in a foreign country, and their parents went out for drinks and dinner with their friends. Now the parents said, oh, but it was like being in the garden, but it really wasn't. And they were supposedly doing checks on the kids. They were taking turns listening at the door, but I don't know what listening is going to do if a 3, almost 4-year-old crawls out of bed and tries to leave the house, or if an intruder breaks in, and around and around and around we've gone on that case too. It's very, very frustrating. Michelle said to Karen, maybe you should bring that dog or to AtNight's attention. I would. Sky Maiden says the JonBenet Ramsey case was not too far from my home. Oh, wow. Brother Mike said, Chris Proudfoot wants this case solved. Yeah, we're drama free here. Absolutely. And Jess is right. Thank you for the green hearts for Sebastian, Amelia. Diane says, special ed teacher here. There's now a DX of educational autism that does not require a medicational diagnosis. There's now a diagnosis of educational autism that does not require a medical diagnosis. Wondered if that's what they use since he was diagnosed late at 13. It can be used to get services. I don't know. Great question. Lucy says, one of the things that I'm loving about this channel is it doesn't get involved with the YouTube drama. I'm really trying to stay out of that. I just feel, drama. I don't know what was I don't know what happened. I had sepsis, you guys know, and had some health issues. So when I came back, all of this stuff was going on, and I don't know. I missed all of it. So maybe that was a good thing. Question Everything said, maybe the 3 a.m. timestamp video was off. I hesitate to validate it. As viewers, we don't know where it really came from. Well, the video, I think that even though the timestamp was off, you can still look at your own security video and tell when it was filmed. You can go in and look at it. So I think the neighbors would have known. And this was shared with a local reporter, Nick Barris, which is why I wanted to go back to Nick Barris as the source for all of this, because I know he has a good relationship with local law enforcement, with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So I think if anybody's going to be getting credible information, it's going to be Nick Barris. And I think the fact that he shared this home security camera footage, and then he was poo-pooed about it. People said it's a garbage truck. It's not a garbage truck. We've all looked at the video. It's clearly not a garbage truck. There is a car that's starting up right there where these lights are coming down to. So, I understand why you hate to validate it. I get why you feel like that. And I respect your opinion. Linda says, in my opinion, lights, you can see them in that video. It's not a keychain flashlight. They're just not bright or big. Just my opinion. Guess someone knew there was going to be flashlights in the yard later. My opinion. Where Summer says, I believe he's alive and well and being tucked somewhere out of everyone's sight now that there's some children that are missing. I do not believe that they are still with us, but Sebastian, I do. Robin says, prayers for Seth and Sebastian. Thank you, Enjas, for gifting another Reporter Room membership. If you got that membership, please let me know who you are, and thank you so much to Enjas. Before I get too far into this, and I don't want to forget to do this, I do want to do we're not done, but I just do want to say thank you to our producers, Enjas, Sasha Angel, George Brown, Pepper, and Lisa Fazio. Thank you to our channel members. If you would like to have your name up here just like this, I update this list every Tuesday or Wednesday. And it's next to the subscribe button. Subscribing is free, and this is a couple of dollars. We are going to do a members only live stream right after this live stream today. So, and if you're liking this coverage, please consider sharing this video on your social media. I'm really trying to not take a team here. I really am Team Sebastian, and I know you guys are too. And thank you. This is Coffee and super thanks. I don't think I saw Albarica, your super thanks. And I want to thank Enjas for all the gifted channel memberships. So kind of you. Let's go through some more of your comments, you guys. As you guys are we have really smart viewers. Lucy says, yes, we can't know how the home security handles the light sources from a phone versus a flashlight. Cheap ones can be very poor. Lenses flare may be happening in this video. Myrna says, Chris and Katie are guilty. In her opinion, there are too many red flags. Elizabeth, and I just want to emphasize that law enforcement, I respect your feeling. I know why people feel a certain kind of way about it. And I agree with all the red flags, but we don't know what happened to Sebastian yet. So it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, you guys. I feel heartbroken. And I understand why you have red flags. Chris Proudfoot, we know what he is from all the CPS calls, from what Nina Gomez told us that he did to her children. So we know how he acts to stepchildren, not just from Nina Gomez, but from his own mouth. Using a belt on a special needs child is beyond the pale. When I saw Katie pulling up in that Roadhouse, Texas restaurant with a handicap sticker on in the car and parking in a handicap space, I thought, oh my gosh. And he was using a belt? And I feel like CPS really dropped the ball here. We need to fund Department of Family Services better. We need to fund Child Protective Services better so that when these things happen and kids disappear, that instead of winding down and be like, well, they're gone, we don't have to look into it anymore. No, it's the opposite. We wind it up and we take more action to try to find out what happened to these kids. Question every said, in-house crime and cover-up. Same. Hey, Chantel. Good to see you. Sherry says, I think that law enforcement did get more information from the flashlight video. I think so, too. I agree with Sherry on this. Let me grab a sip of water. I think Sherry is absolutely right about this. I think that they did get more information about this. And the reason I believe this is because they showed it to the TBI and they showed it to the FBI. And they were according to Chris Proudfoot, they all really investigated this video and they showed it to Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Why would you do all that if the video was a nothing burger? You wouldn't. You wouldn't be diving into it to see what all you could find. And I just bring your attention back to the distraction video. In my opinion, this was meant to distract us. I think, allegedly, in my opinion, I believe this is what SF was talking about on Lore Lodge a month before it was released. And, he said he was surprised. He said he was surprised that that this video was out there so soon. So he thought that apparently was this supposed to be released at the same time as Katie's interview? And how ethical would that have been for law enforcement to release a video of a missing special needs child and get it, but not release it and just hold on to it? No, that's not ethical. Of course they're going to release it. There's a missing special needs child involved. Of course they're going to release the video. But I think this was meant to distract us, in my opinion, from this one. Let me know what you think. If you have a different feeling on it, that's fine. I get it. Diane says, the Proudfoots are forever together. Number 6 for Mr. Chris. In my opinion, if Chris Proudfoot is innocent, he would have bolted. I don't know. Marilyn says, Chris Proudfoot said if Sebastian went out the door, a camera would have captured it. Yeah, and no camera has captured it. But yet we have Katie telling us, I don't know why he walked out the door. And I played it for you on the last live stream. Mike says, Chris Proudfoot says dogs didn't find nothing. He said that one dog of the 16 dogs did alert. Seth said in that interview that a dog alerted. Now, but law enforcement said that no dog alerted. And around we go. That's why I was trying to get to go back to the beginning and try to get some actual facts, because so much has been added on to this case. Elizabeth said, yes, Jessica, you don't want to know the case. Oh yeah, I don't. Unless there were cameras later that were removed, how could she know if he walked out the door? Not counting the shoes would have been the last thing. The shoes would have been the last thing on my mind. Well, I'm wondering if law enforcement would have wanted to know, are all the shoes accounted for? Are there any shoes missing? They would have wanted to try to figure out what he had on and how he went out the door. The fact that he went out the door, and we have pictures of Sebastian in a pool with his shoes on, floating in the pool with shoes on. This was not an outdoor kid who ran around barefoot, in my opinion. So I do think the fact that he went out barefoot, and the fact that she says that she tells us she doesn't know why he went out the door. So that tells us that he went out the door. I guess the question is, how did he get out the door? Did he go out the door and she saw him and didn't go after him? Because remember, Peter Hyatt told us, one of the best ways not in a good way, but one of the easiest ways, that's a better word, easiest ways to commit a act of child A is, which is abuse, is neglect. To simply have watched him go out the door and not done anything, not alerted law enforcement, not told anybody. Thank you, Pepper. Pepper says, thank you so much for the super sticker, Pepper. She said, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do, Pepper. Thank you guys for helping keeping Sebastian's name out there. Well, I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be doing a members only live stream next. So if you're a channel member, just follow me over to the next one. And if you're watching this, please consider sharing this on your socials. If you are in a Facebook group, consider sharing it in a Facebook group. I didn't today. I just was so busy, gathering up stuff to go ready to go live on this, just trying to figure out how to, my goal on this. Oh, and the other question that I wanted to pose, and I almost like buried the lead here, is how significant do you guys think that date on their divorce date is that, and the fact that it's the same day, is that significant to you? Because to me, there's a 365 days in a year. So a 1 in 365 day chance that date would have been chosen. So was that date, let me know in the comment section below, was that date significant to someone? And if so, who? Let me know what you think in the channel, in the description below and in the comment section below. Sorry. And I do want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping to keep Sebastian's name out there. Thank you for caring about this sweet little boy. And thank you for coming by to spend a little bit of time with me. And I will see you on the next one. I'll be doing another Sebastian Rogers live later this week. So be on the lookout for that. And I will see you next time. Bye. Please subscribe on your way out.